My mother was a nurse growing up, and I was always fascinated with how the human body works. And I realized if you understood well how the human body works and what could go wrong with it, you could use that knowledge to help people stay healthy, or if they fell sick, to get better. Yeah, well, in medicine, you're often present at some of the signal moments of human life. Babies are born, people die. You have to give people terrible news. You've got cancer, but on the other hand, sometimes you get to tell people they're cured. I had the idea that if we read good books and good stories, we might have an idea how to do that better. Ecologists use the term ecotone to describe the boundary between two habitats. In ecology, those zones, ecotones, always have more species and more dynamism than other areas. And I thought, gosh, what would it be like to have a career that might kind of be on an ecotone between, in this case, let's say medicine and the humanities. And it turned out that Indiana University was a home for that kind of activity. In terms of what I'd like to instill in my students, it's a sense that in order to become good physicians, we really need to become good human beings. And we really can't be any better physicians than we are as human beings. And I really have the inkling that what we discuss, what we read, even what we write about can deeply enrich who we are as people, and then we can bring that to our patients and families.
Well, I think there's a lot of things about Dr. Gunderman that seem very attractive as someone who's learning to be a good student or a good practitioner of medicine, but also a good caregiver. And he covers that from a perspective, I guess his primary field of radiology, which often has a perception of being perhaps less involved in day-to-day patient care. It seemed like an isolated role. You're sitting in a reading room. You're not engaged with patients directly. But he sort of beats all of those expectations out of the window. And what we see is someone who's acutely involved with patient care, involved with students in their training and understanding of sort of the anatomy and pathology that occurs. But even outside of that, he's prolific in his research and in his writings, and he's giving lectures not only at IU to the medical students, but to the undergrads in various classes that he teaches, and then around the country and around the world, quite frankly.
I would say the most rewarding part of my career for me is to watch a light come on in a student's eyes, and sometimes to see maybe tears well up in the eyes of students as they're reading a story that makes them think about, maybe the death of their own grandparents or the birth of their own son or daughter, or gives them a clear insight into the kind of lives they want to lead. It's that one-on-one or small group interaction with a student. To me, that's where the magic has happened in my life. It's not something I'm able to conjure up, but I've been present when it happened. And those are moments I don't think I'll ever forget.
So Dr. Gunderman sort of emulates a lot of the things I think we're looking for in a world-class faculty physician. He's great in clinical care, working with students, publishing, but the CV supports all that. But I think there's the key element that we often miss in a CV is the compassion and the sort of true sort of pathos that guides his work. And he really sort of embodies that, and I think that's why he's befitting for this sort of distinguished award.
To receive the Glen Irwin Distinguished Faculty Award means a great deal to me, because I don't think it's a reflection of who I am or what I've done, but I see it as validation and encouragement for other faculty members who might want to explore the boundary zones between disciplines, say between medicine and law, medicine and economics, medicine and the humanities. This to me is a validation of that kind of interdisciplinary study, and I hope it will encourage other faculty members, our residents and medical students to pursue similar paths.